welcome to the We Connect for April 9th and 10th. We are still in the key question of who can I love, and the We Discover is I can love God and others. So this week we'll be talking about the early church and what the disciples did to help spread the good news of Jesus throughout their area during the early church times. So you'll be in the book of Acts, chapter 2, verses 42 through 47. And the first activity you're going to do is you don't need any props. You just stand in a circle, and you're going to teach the kids some actions to go along with ways that we can show God's love. And so the first you're going to talk about is eating. So you can do eating, or you make it silly, do whatever you want. I want to eat a big hamburger, or just kind of make it fun. You can talk about singing, so you can say la 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 la, something like that. You can praying is another one, so just your prayer hands. And sharing, so pretend like you're giving to another person. And a happy heart, so you can say yay or something to that effect. So we're going to go into those more in your Bible lesson, but it's a good way for them to get prepared for it and to talk about all the different fun ways that they can share and show God's love, even as a preschooler. So your lesson this week, you're going to need your toolbox and your hammer. You'll also need your flannel board, and this week's visual is a group of people. So you'll have that to be putting upon your flannel board this week. So your lesson again is the early church, and so you're going to be talking about how Jesus' friends, the disciples, went out and shared the good news. And sometimes they shared the good news by eating with people, and sometimes they shared the good news by praying with people, and sometimes they shared the good news by sharing things with people. So whatever hand motions that you did for your opening activity, incorporate them into your story lesson so that they're getting the same kind of concepts. And so, of course, what we want the kids to get from this is that they can love God and they can love people too. So your craft this week is kind of fun. You will have these little cards. We'll play memory. So you'll have cards that say we can show love by praying, we can show love by eating together, and we can show love by sharing with each other. Each child gets 2 of each card, and they also will have baggies to go home with them. So they'll color the card, and they can play with the memory game at their desk when they're done coloring, and then they can take them home so they can play a memory at home. So in case you don't know memory, you take your 6 cards, you'll have 2 of each style, and you lay them down, and then you lay them down in a grid, and they get to turn one over and flip another to try and find where the other match lives. So there's that. One thing I did forget to say is that in your story visuals, you'll have a small bag of goldfish because you'll be talking about, your intro is talking about sharing, but we wouldn't want to tease our kiddos. So instead of just you getting the goldfish, I've also included a couple of bags of goldfish for your class to share with your friends in class. So please make sure that you check with the parents to make sure that the goldfish snack is appropriate for any allergies of kiddos that you may have. Okay, so your second activity after your lesson is just an activity to help us to understand kind of our big world and how we can have an impact on it. And so you'll have a piece of butcher paper, and you will be having the kids sit in front of you and just ask them to call out the different names of people that they know in their lives. Maybe it's their next door neighbor, maybe it's their grandma, maybe it's the lady at the deli counter that they see when they buy their lunch meat. I mean, just help them to think about this last week you did the butcher paper with all the different neighborhood places. So maybe help them go through that butcher paper and who would you find here and who can we show God's love to? So you'll get a whole big list. You'll have a marker with your butcher paper on the wall, and as the kids shout out different names, you can just write them up there. And beware, some of the kiddos will say their grandma's name or their brother's name, and that's wonderful. So just write as many of the options that they give you up there. And then the final thing is your memory verse. It's Matthew 22:37 through 39. Love God with all your heart. How do I do that? Okay, love God with all your heart. Love your neighbor as yourself. So just continuing our neighboring thing, continuing to help our kids understand that when we love God, we want to show His love to everybody. So if you have any questions, just talk to your campus director, and I hope you have another wonderful week.